Now, Strictly Judge Anton best known for his moves on the dance floor, but he's also a successful author. And after being inspired by the adventure stories of his childhood, he's now written his first children's book.
Set during the Second World War, codename Foxtrot follows...
So what you did there.
Great name. Yeah. Follows 10-year-old twins, Harry and Rosie, as they're evacuated to the Lancashire coast. Anton is here with us now. So, not content with writing grown-ups books.
Yes.
Now you've got one for kids as well.
I know. Well, do you know, it's interesting, because the first idea I had for a book was a children's book years ago, and I remember going to the publisher and saying, I've got this idea for a children's book, and they went, oh, no, that's not going to be believable. And I thought, oh, that's nice. And so when I got an adult, and they went, oh, no, we like that. So I ended up doing... starting with the adult, but now we've come round and finally going to do a children's novel. But this one's been inspired by my twins, because it's about a pair of twins, Harry and Rosie, and it's been inspired by my twins, George and Henrietta. And but it's sort of also inspired by my youth and reading adventure stories. Like Enid Blyton was a great sort of author from when I was growing up, and those books, I love the adventure stories. That was my thing, rather than the sort of sci-fi thing. I love the adventure. And the idea that the twins evacuated up to the northwest of the UK.
And what is it that's in the northwest that's quite significant, if you like ballroom dancing?
Just south of Blackpool and the Tower, which they see. And then there's obviously a little bit of dancing in the book as well. They go and do this composition at the Tower. But it's that idea of going out and exploring, and the idea is that Harry's in the bedroom looking out the window one night, and he sees what he thinks is a silhouette of a person walking on the water. Now, this can't be the case at all. So there has to be some exploring to be done, and it turns out that it's not always what it seems. There's much to be discovered, and because they're up there to discover, they're just having a great time doing that. So it is all about the adventures of.
Was this the same story, the pitch that you pitched right at the beginning?
No, do you know, interestingly, really? Entirely different. That was a completely different idea, and for much younger children, the one I had originally. Yeah. I might come back to that eventually. But this is purely inspired by my twins, really.
So actually for older kids, isn't it?
Yeah, from sort of 7 to 12-year-olds. So it's... And it's, you know, it's fast-paced, because, you know, with children, you've got to keep the thing going, otherwise, you know, they do tend to lose interest. It's very interesting watching my children, how they read, what they read, how long they'll read for.
Have they read this?
We've read this book at bedtime. Right. It's the best story they've ever heard in their lives.
Yeah. Said their dad.
And said their dad. But they absolutely love the story. Now, the great thing about it is they didn't understand parts of it, like the Second World War part. They haven't sort of studied at school yet, so they'll come to that another time. They can go back to it again later on. So it's been really, really lovely having that sort of confirmation from the children.
How do you write differently for kids?
For children?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's the key. The pace is key, really. Keeping it going, making sure it's I know the expression, a page turner, but I want them to sort of immerse themselves in it as though it's them, and that was very important to me, because that's how I felt when I was reading books growing up, those sort of, as I said before, Enid Blyton stories, and I wanted them to feel like they could be doing this, and the more of that you can get into it, that was very important.
I know one of the things that you do alongside the books is that you go out and you meet the people who read your books. That's one of the things you love.
I do. I go around and I do book signings and.
What's that like?
Does
wonderful. Everyone want you to dance?
I mean, I've been doing it all this week, and lots and lots of children and grannies and parents have been coming along, and it's just been the best week. I've had the best time, and I really enjoy it. And I've got a lovely event I'm doing on Sunday in Horsham with the doyenne, Dame Jacqueline Wilson, down at the Capitol Theatre in Horsham, in Sussex. So come along and meet the Dame as well. Goodness sake. So we're going to be there, and I'm really looking forward to that event as well. It's a family event.
She's a former children's laureate, isn't she?
She is.
Yeah, she likes your book.
She's El Supremo.
Yeah.
She's the best.
Yeah.
We all sort of bow towards Dame Jacqueline. She's wonderful, and she does love the book, which is I mean, that's great.
That's quite the seal of
That is
approval.
quite the seal of approval. I'm delighted about that.
Let's talk Strictly.
Yes. Can we talk NTAs? Expert category.
No, we're in charge.
Shortlisted.
Hang on.
Sorry, go on then. Go on, let's talk about Strictly.
No, go on. What do you...
Well,
you're in the
it
NTA.
sort of
Awards.
segues beautifully into the NTA for Expert. I've been shortlisted for the
Yeah, but tell us who
Expert.
else is in the category.
No, I don't want to do that because you might be
there's someone
inclined
in
to
it
vote
that,
for... I'm going to vote for one of them myself. It's Sir David Rattenborough's in there, yeah.
So your
I'm in the same
competition
category
is...
as David Attenborough. That's almost a win in itself, isn't it?
That is a win in itself.
I'm happy with that.
Are you going to go?
Yes, I'm going to go along.
OK.
It's going to be great. It's going to be a lovely night, whoever wins. Hopefully it's me. Don't make me beg. Although I'm happy to beg. I don't mind.
Not
I think that is begging.
That's sort of begging. I'm happy to pay, quite frankly. I can't wait for the new series, Strictly Come Dancing. It's going to be brilliant. It's... Can you even imagine 20 years?
A big year this year.
The 20th anniversary. I mean, it's 22 series, for goodness sake, 22nd series. But the 20th year of Strictly Come Dancing. And I'm sort of... You know, I feel very honoured about the fact that there's only myself and Craig and Tess left from the very first show of the very first series. I mean, that's... I love that. I feel very proud about that because I love the show and I feel very, very territorial about the show, really, because I think it's a brilliant thing.
It's got bigger and bigger, bolder and bolder,
They
hasn't it? You know,
did. Sorry, I keep interrupting you. I do apologise, but they did because I get so excited about it. They showed the very first show of the very first series recently on BBC 4 as a rerun. Did you see it? You must have watched it. Yes, of course. And
It's changed a lot.
Yeah, it just looked little.
It looked so... You're absolutely right. There's only 8 couples. It looked little. Brucey was there, and it was just brilliant. And who knew 20 years later we'd be still going?
So you've been there for all of those years. You've been there as a dancer, there as a judge, there as a grown-up now. And Strictly is a programme that has had a torrid few months. It's had some challenging allegations,
it has.
hasn't it? Did you ever see anything during those years that made you uncomfortable?
No. No, I can only speak for myself, of course, because when we're in... the only time we're all together as a group is on the Saturdays, so the live show day. The rest of the week, you're off with your partner. So, for example, if you and I danced together, we'd be off in a studio rehearsing all day, just be you and I and the camera crew. And so that's as much time as you have with everybody else, one day. So, you know, you can only speak about one's own experience. And I enjoyed my time as a professional dancer enormously. I had the most wonderful relationships with all my partners, who I wouldn't have changed for the world, all of them. And I got the great opportunity to spend some brilliant time with some incredibly interesting and wonderful ladies who I probably wouldn't have crossed paths with in sort of normal life, even in the industry. I mean, I think about Anne Widdecombe, for example. We wouldn't have... There's nothing else in life that would have brought us together for such a long amount of time. And she was remarkable. We had the most brilliant time. So, and I could say that about all of my partners, really. So I had a great time. So, you know, that's as much as I can say. I can only speak for myself, really. Do
you think it's maybe got a bit too competitive and we need to return to that original essence of Strictly?
Well, it was competitive then, I have to be honest with you. If I think back at those days, we were all competitive ballroom dancers who literally just walked off the competitive dance floor into the studio. We were all there, the haircuts, the thing, the tail suits, right, arms up, here we go, and off we go. And it was enormously competitive then. I mean, nobody knew we'd be going 20 years later, but we wanted to make... Because we were, you know, we were there for... I mean, if you can imagine time before Strictly, which is very difficult to do, but we were there for Strictly, I was sort of saying, this is what we do, ballroom dancing, and this is how it's done. So we were... even in the early days, it was competitive.
So nice to see you.
It's great to see you both.
Best of luck with the new series.
Thank you ever so much.
Anton's children's book. It's called Codename Foxtrot. Didn't snigger that.
That was brilliant. Well done. You stayed absolutely solid there. I'm delighted with you.